Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock Kingdom time. That means it's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live. You've made your way to the show. Click that like, click that subscribe, click that bell, send us some comments. Go check us out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Chiefs Kingdom Live, the name's all the same, those spots there. Got a really fun show in store tonight.
Really fun.
We're going to talk about a huge win for the Kansas City Chiefs over the division rival Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday Night Football. We'll talk AFC West. We'll talk Chiefs receivers. We'll talk about the game coming up Sunday against the Colts. Fellas, how are we doing? Nick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Chiefs are 2-0. Good win against a quality opponent at home. You know, it's we were talking before the show started. It seems like it's been a really long time since the sorry, I'm getting some weird feedback. Really long time since the Chiefs played, but you know, I'm good, man. How are you, Bo?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm ready to see the Chiefs play again. It does feel like it's been forever. Going off what Scott was just saying about us being on the internets, we are on all the internets, all the social media. I just started back up on the Instagram and Facebook today, so I've been slacking there, but I'm doing great other than that. 2-0 to start the season. Can't ask for anything better. I'm ready to do the show.
Right. Yeah, it does feel like it's been a while since there was a game. It's kind of weird not having a game to watch over the weekend. You don't realize how long the weekend is until you don't have football to watch all day on Sunday or the Chiefs game to keep you occupied anyway. So let's just jump in and just talk about that game. Thursday night, the inaugural.
What a game.
What a game. Yeah, the inaugural, not Thursday night game, but the Amazon Prime broadcast. Chiefs win 27-24 over the hated division rivals, Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert and company at Arrowhead Stadium. Kudos to Chiefs Kingdom and anybody who was at that game. Yeah. That atmosphere looked and sounded lit, man.
Yeah.
On the broadcast.
Yeah, no.
Even Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels were like, this feels like a playoff game and it's week 2. Just crazy atmosphere. Arrowhead looked like it was rocking. I know it was rocking because my cousin Zach had my tickets, and he's dude. If you've never been to a game with my cousin Zach, it's like beating on the seat. Get him! Rip his head off! Like he gets insane at the games. So yeah, raucous atmosphere, killer game. The Chiefs are now the winners. They have won the inaugural. Obviously, it's on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving night game, way back when the Chiefs beat the Denver Broncos to kick off Thanksgiving night football broadcasts. And then they come out on top victorious in the maiden voyage of Amazon Prime Thursday night. I thought that broadcast was really good.
It wasn't bad.
The graphics were good. The commentators, Herbstreit and Al Michaels, I was kind of wondering how that would go because Herbstreit's a college guy mostly, but he did good. The broadcast was good. I thought the graphics and the visuals and the way they showed the game on TV was really good. And they had a good game to go with it. So they had been happy there.
Sure.
Yep. Looks like we got, I can't read the names. Let's say
Hefe
KC
in the house.
Hefe's in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for joining Chiefs Kingdom Live. Click that like and subscribe if you enjoy the show. But just go to you guys. Bo, real quick. What are your takeaways? Just first thing that comes to mind, Thursday night football, Chiefs Chargers at Arrowhead.
Yeah, first and foremost, I went to the Kansas City Chiefs bar here in Austin, Texas. It's called The Tavern. and they got to step up their game a little bit, man. The Pub Rock and AZ, that bar has it going on. That is a legit Chiefs bar, and this one, I don't know, it was lackluster compared to having spent the previous weekend in Arizona at that bar, right? Like, it's just like, all right, but Chiefs faithful. The Kingdom showed up, right? There was plenty of Chiefs jerseys there, and it got rocking in the house, so that was fun. But my takeaway, what's that?
Pub Rock, that's a high bar, Bo.
Right, dude, who would have known that we went to like the best Chiefs bar like right out of the gates?
Yeah.
But no, the game, man, when it first started, I was not a happy camper. I can tell you that, man. Going down 10-0 right away, like they stopped us on our first drive, weren't looking too good. But as with my buddy to tell me like, hey, man, we've been here before. Check yourself. I was getting a little heated, and yep, sure enough, Chiefs do what they do. They, I think they've come back from behind more times now than a lot of quarterbacks have games played. So, yeah, a great game at the end of it.
Right. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, major takeaway for me with this game is you don't learn as much about teams when everything goes well sometimes as you do when they struggle. And what we learned is that this team will find a way to win, and especially against a quality opponent. They looked dead on arrival, right? When they came out of the gates, everything looked like it was going the Chargers' way. And then, Patrick Mahomes, amazing touchdown pass to Jet McKinnon, got things rolling. Another great touchdown pass. I mean, his feet are in the air to Watson. Just sick. And then how about the rookie, right, coming out, number 35, guy that lost his scholarship, ended up having to take a step backwards, was working a day job at a fast food restaurant at a Wendy's, I think. Ended up working hard, coming and making it on an NFL roster, and then had the game sealer. So this team will not quit, and they're going to fight. And they have the capability of looking like they're not playing as well as the other team for a majority of the game and still coming out. And then you look up in the fourth quarter and you're ahead in points. You're like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And so I think that it's a testament to the fortitude. And I think we learned a lot about that. This team had a lot of roster changeover, but they still have that heart to come back and really fight and win a game when things aren't going well.
Scott, I think I texted you during the entire game, like just bad play calling, bad play calling, bad play calling. What do you think about this game? What was your takeaway from it?
My takeaway was the defense just doing a complete 180. I was texting, the three of us, we got a little private text thread back and forth during the game, and I was having one with my family, with Nick and some other family members. And, man, the Chargers stopped us. They went out and got a field goal, and then went right back down and scored a touchdown. And I think it was Nick that sent a text and says, geez, they're on pace to score 40. The offense is going to have to wake up. And then if you go through the game log after that, I want to say the Chiefs defense held the Chargers to 3 and outs on, it was like 4 of the next 6 possessions. And one of those possessions was like a 6 and out or a 7 and out where they got a first down on the second or third down, but then they didn't get a first down on the next set of downs. If you go back and watch last week's episode where we did our game predictions, somebody here on the panel on Chiefs Kingdom Live predicted Chris Jones was going to have a big game with some sacks and some tip passes. So you might want to go back and check that out. That would be me if you didn't pick up on that. I'm 2 for 2, fellas.
First I've heard you say that, Scott.
Right. I called Travis Kelce.
No way.
Right. I kind of called Travis Kelce's big performance in week 1 at Arizona, too. So I'm on a roll there. See if we can keep that going later when we talk about the game coming up Sunday against the Colts. But the offense, you just know they're going to get it turned around at some point. We got our man, John.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, John?
What's up, John? Good to see you, brother. Great show last night, by the way, on Locker Room Rant. If you haven't checked that show,
hilarious.
I was laughing
you
my
gotta go
ass
check
off.
it out. It's not just Chiefs stuff. It's all sports, and it's better than anything you're going to get on the television. as NFL and just the wide world of sports breakdowns and commentary in general. So check it out, Locker Room Rant. You can find them on Twitter. You can find them on here on YouTube. Give them, go give them a watch, give them some views, give them a sub. But yeah, the offense and Patrick and them guys are going to turn it around at sometimes. So I wasn't too worried there, but the way the defense was just getting trampled on those first two drives.
Yeah.
They nutted up, man. They sucked it up and they turned it around and they stifled the Chargers offense for a good portion of that game after like that first quarter. Held them to 7 points aside from the, oh, by the way, kind of garbage time touchdown there at the end that made it a little bit interesting with the onside kick, but really Chiefs were playing soft there. They were really more worried about giving up, not giving up a big play and letting them move the ball. Time was the factor, not the score at that point in the ball game. But,
right.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. Just defense and Chris Jones in particular, just getting in there. They rattled and beat up and harassed Justin Herbert, new Mahomes, especially there in the third and fourth quarter.
Dude, yeah, the second half especially, they really just took it to him, man. They were beating the crap out of that dude.
Yeah, we were talking about this kind of a little bit before the show started. He took that hit, and you could tell he was hurt, and you could tell it was the ribs, the midsection, because the trainers came out and they're looking at it, and he's got his hand on the side, he's wincing. I think they actually went to a commercial break and came back, and he was still on the field. He got up. He had to come out for a play, obviously, if they stopped the game for an injury. Chase Daniel comes in, has one handoff. They bring him right back in, and it was either that play or the very next play. Frank Clark just hits him right in the ribs again, and he's laying on the ground. And you just, man, I was surprised he came back in a little bit because I know these guys are tough, but at what point are you hurting the team by coming in hurt? But he went down and threw a laser touchdown there at the end.
Yeah.
So credit to that guy. He's tough as nails. I know there's a lot of back and forth, especially on social media, about who's the best quarterback in the NFL, and the Chargers like Herbert, and Bills Mafia likes Allen, and we like Mahomes, of course. But that's not to say like those other guys aren't good. I give Herbert a lot of credit. I think right now in the AFC the hierarchy is Mahomes, then Herbert, then Allen. I just think Herbert makes more throws, and as far as the quarterback position, taking out the running and the scrambling or the design run things that Lamar and Josh Allen kind of do, I would take Herbert over. If someone says you can have Herbert or Josh Allen for the next 10 years, I'm taking Herbert. So
I would. No way in hell I would do that, man. Like, the kid's got an arm, I'll give him that, and he's got a hell of a work ethic. We saw that, right? Like, I mean, he can fight through some pain and make some put the ball where it needs to be, even with a cracked rib. He did really well. Hats off to the kid, right? That's why I put that banner up there. But Josh Allen, dude, he's a freak of nature, man. Like, he's got so many more threats than Herbert does, man. Like, Herbert, I mean, I almost consider him like on par with like a Russell Wilson at best, man. Maybe like a Kirk Cousins. I mean, I just don't think he's that great. But Allen, man, like he's proven that he's a guy, man. He's a quarterback. I'm not saying he's better than Mahomes by any means, but like he has a lot more just deep ball threats. He can run the ball. I mean, he's just just a better athlete overall in general than Justin Herbert, in my opinion.
I don't see Josh Allen making the throws and the plays that Herbert makes. I just don't see it. The running thing, to me, and I've said this before, it reminds me of Cam Newton. Like, once the legs go and you take a booting, you're not for long in the NFL. Nick, we kind of got off on a little side tangent here, but who are you taking, Herbert or Allen?
Yeah, I said it.
If it's right now, Allen, but much ado is made about the situation that Mahomes has walked into and the situation for him. Josh Allen wasn't that great until they got him a better receiving core. They upgraded, they got Stephon Diggs, and it wasn't until he had that elite receiver that he really came out and had a really good season. So, and he also has a number one defense, and went to the divisional round of the playoffs with the number one defense. So it's tough to say. If you're talking longevity, I do believe that Herbert will probably have more longevity unless the Bills transition Josh Allen out of the running quarterback designed run thing, because I think that is going to kill his longevity of his career. And that's the worry about it. It's, the running is amazing. And, I get it as a fan. You're like, my quarterback's tough. He's trucking people. I don't want to see my quarterback trucking people. I don't want to see him lowering his shoulder and taking those hits, because you're absolutely right. Cam Newton looked like a monster for a couple of years, and then he got beat up, and then he just didn't have it anymore. So, I think that that's a fair assessment. And the only thing that worries me about Herbert right now is that he hasn't really shown that ability to win. I think that he plays really well, but he also loses a lot of games. I mean, he's hovering around 500 as a starter in his career with a good defense and decent tools around him. So I worry that he doesn't have that killer instinct to put a game away. Right? We saw it against the Chiefs. It wasn't going to be a game ender by any means. The Chiefs are going to have the ability to go answer. We know how Patrick Mahomes responds more often than not in those situations, but game on the line, he sees his guy is tanked, right? The guy's raising his arm saying, "Get me out, get me out, get me out." They're like, "No, stay in." He's got caught 2 passes. Herbert doesn't recognize it, goes right back to him, and it's a pick 6. And I know that there's a lot of talking heads have been blaming that player. I forget his name, but I really don't. Yeah, like you're saying, dude, I need to get out. I'm gassed. You just went to me twice, and you don't recognize that, and you go right back to him, and it's a pick 6. So that's the only thing that really would worry me about trying to take Herbert as a quarterback. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that because we have Patrick Mahomes. So
right. I just want a little caveat to that real quick. I just wanted to say, like, I don't mind a quarterback trucking people. I just hate when it's by design. Like, why are you running your quarterback intentionally to do that? Like, I would agree with everything you just said. Like, the potential to get hurt is all that. But, dude, if Josh Allen's just scrambling and doing that on accident, that I don't think he's any more danger than he would be standing in the pocket.
Right. Unfortunately, John V knows all too well about the injured
designed runs, though, right? That was a designed run for that kid.
Yeah, I was gutted for John V. He's the king of Ohio Niners fans. When I saw that scrolling through Twitter, I didn't get that game on. I wasn't watching it, but when I saw that, and then it said he's carted off, and it looks like a broken ankle, and I was gutted for my guy John and some of his other.
I've never even met the guy. I did the same thing. I was like, oh man, I just watched the locker room rant. Those guys, John's gonna.
Right.
I do so sold on him.
I do a show on Saturdays called Shank Club NFL. It's a British kind of based NFL show that I never talk about. Nick, I'm giving you a shout out here. Tried to call me out for never talking about his show, but
we'll see you next Thursday, Nick, for calling us out.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that just sucks, man. Sorry, John. That's brutal. That circuitous route just to get back to Jimmy G starting in San Francisco is just wild. But back to Chargers, Chiefs. Yeah, the defense and the throw that a lot of people I feel are like trying to make an excuse for Herbert on that play about Everett being tired and trying to get out of there. If you watch the replay, Herbert tries to sidearm it around a defender and just throws it behind the guy. If he throws it to the outside, he's got a chance to make a play there and get in the end zone. He's right at the goal line, and he threw it just a couple feet off target, it looked like to me, behind Everett, the receiver, and Jalen Watson didn't drop it. Unlike these super heralded Asante Samuels and Derwin James, as we keep hearing about how great they are, he caught it and he took it 99 to the house. That place, the stadium, you could tell just erupted.
Oh, man.
It was a little nervous, I'm sure, in Arrowhead, especially after the way the Chargers started, and then back and forth game. Chargers have a lead most of the game. But at that point, that was a momentum swinger. It all shifted to the Chiefs' favor there. Arrowhead started rocking. There he is right there. The man, like Nick mentioned a little bit, that's a cool story. A guy that was a pretty highly ranked guy. I mean, if USC is offering you scholarships, you know how to ball. You know how to play football.
Right.
Something happened with academics, and so his scholarship got. And instead of pouting and moaning and I missed my chance, he put his head down. And he went to work and got his grades up at a junior college. Ends up at Washington State. Ends up on the Chiefs roster, making the biggest play of the week. He earned Defensive Player of the Week award too for that performance in that game, mostly due to that play right there. So good for him. Kudos to the defense for not packing in and giving up and pointing fingers and getting down on themselves and just turning it around and righting the ship and shutting the Chargers down and giving the offense and giving the Chiefs a chance to get back in that game. The touchdown pass to McKinnon that Nick referenced was Mahomes magic, running around, scrambling, dodging defenders.
He dodged Joey Bosa.
right, throwing it sideways. Looking a little bit like Jordan there.
There's such a yeah. He does look like somebody on Reddit said he did the jump man from the Jordan logo in an NFL game. It's pretty damn close.
That touchdown that he threw to Watson, other Watson.
This play though, right? So not only does he jump evade Bosa, who's like, they were expecting him to sack him a million times. He does that little shovel past McKinnon, but right before he pump fakes it. I don't know if you noticed that pump fake gets both the defenders coming at him with both hands up, right? And then that's sidearms it just right under both their arms. I mean, it's the epitome of the Mahomes magic that he does, man. Like it's just a smart football play to get the guys to come up with their hands up, throw it right under him to an open McKinnon, who was covered until the threat of the scramble when Bosa missed. I mean, that play was awesome.
Yeah, keeping it alive. You've seen him do it time and time again where he keeps the play alive and gets out and stretches it out till he gets to the sideline. He had a play similar. I don't know if it was the Chargers game. That must have been 2 years ago because I want to say it was a night game where he did the same thing. He had a defender hanging on him, and he's right on the edge of the boundary at the sideline and kind of throws a last-second dart touchdown into the end zone. But that, Nick mentioned too, that touchdown pass to Watson, his feet aren't on the ground, and he just kind of like flip of the wrist, 40 yards on the money to Watson, who's their third or fourth receiver, depending on how you will look at the depth chart, burning J.C. Jackson.
For like 50 yards, right? Wasn't that throw 40 yards? Or 40?
42 yards. And,
jump throw.
Yeah, there you see it right there. Just hits him in stride right over the outstretched fingertips of the defender, takes it into the end zone.
Guy's too good.
I don't want to say he's too good, but yeah, maybe he is too good. It's just he's freakish. That's all you can say.
Right.
But thrilling game. I too was getting a little bit down on the play calling and the defense early in the game, and maybe it was a little bit too critical because those guys they toughed it out. And
what did you guys think of the play calling, man? I don't know, right? Obviously, I'm not a head coach. I'm not there for a reason, but like it just seemed so pitiful, so obvious, and then like. I'm sorry. I'm so over like a 3rd and 16, 3rd and 18, and you do like a short little screen pass out to the left. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like the stats must back up that play, but we don't back up that play. What's your guys' take on the play calling for this game? Because I just thought it was pretty abysmal and kept the Chargers hanging around when they should have just stuck to basics instead of like the cute little stuff that they tried to do. A failed shovel pass in the end zone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the shovel pass, I understand because that play has worked. Maybe it's worked too many times now, and people start to expect it. The play that I probably was most upset about was first drive, 3rd down, 3rd and 2, and it was just a bad run call. Just took too long to develop behind the line of scrimmage, not enough blocking, and it just went nowhere. Right, so. I see that we just really struggle to run between the tackles and to get tough yardage and short yardage situations. And we just keep trying to do it, which I know you eventually got to be able to get those yards, but it really feels like sometimes like when we do those plays, we're throwing plays away, and especially against the way the Chargers defense was playing, you don't have a lot of plays to throw away. So
We got our guy Tony's in the comments. He had enough Trey Lance talk last night. It sounds like. Good to have you, Tony. Appreciate it, man. Good seeing you, bro.
You missed me backing up your boy Allen.
Yeah. So the play calling was odd in some spots. Aside from the little quick handoff up the middle to Burton, they don't seem to have a play where you just know you're going to get 1 yard on 3rd and 1.
1 yard,
yeah,
right? We need that one guaranteed play, right?
Right. And it just seems like the shovel pass thing, the underhand, whatever you want to call it, pass, teams have figured that out. Someone called out on Twitter before the play, which I saw later. So here comes that underhanded toss pass, and then like somebody replied, "Yeah, it looked like the Chargers knew that was coming too." It's so weird that they're never going to do another quarterback sneak. I'm just convinced of that because of the weird injury that Mahomes had in the Broncos game back in 2019.
It's interesting you bring that up. I was thinking about that earlier.
They're just not going to do that. You see other teams do it all the time. It seems like it. What's the success rate on the quarterback sneak?
100%. Seems like
it's like
99,
95%.
I mean, it's like the soap that you got on your sink kills 99.99% of bacteria. I mean, it works 99.99% of the time. We just won't do it. Seems like maybe that's because of the injury that happened on the weird play. Mahomes kind of said something about that too in the press this week earlier. That he says, maybe I'll save that for the Super Bowl, and I think I might try to dive over the top instead of getting in the bottom of that pile again. But yeah, the jet sweep on 3rd and 4 because you're handing the ball off and you're tossing it backwards. You saw the Bears do a similar thing in the game against the Packers where they tried to run it with Justin Fields out of the shotgun. Well, now you just turned it into 4th and 5 instead of 4th and 1. And I'm sorry, McCole Hardman's not the cheetah on those stretch jet plays. I mean, he's fast and he's good, but the success rate's just not there. It was an odd play.
Right.
If you've ever watched the game with me, you know how I feel about running it between the tackles and how I feel about running it on 3rd and short. I feel like you have an infinitely better chance of Patrick Mahomes figuring out a way to get you a yard than trying to run it up the middle with some of these guys we got.
Right.
And it's not a small sample size. It's been 2 or 3 years that they've struggled in that aspect of the offense. The 3rd and shorts, the 2nd and shorts, the 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and goal at the 2. They struggled. So, yeah, it was a little weird. It was a little suspect. But the Chargers are a hell of a team.
They are.
So
I want to go back to that QB sneak real quick. I think we see them pull it out of their sleeve. It's got to be an ace in their sleeve, up their sleeve right now, right? I think we're going to see them pull it out week 8, week 9, right? Nobody's expecting it, right? And like, especially from Patrick Mahomes, and like, I don't think they wait till the Super Bowl.
Andy Reid about it this week.
Did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they said Patrick's come to me and asked to do it again, and I told him no. And so I kind of understand what you're saying there, Bo. Like, it's like, why would you put that out there if you weren't ever going to do it, right?
Right. There's whispers of it, right? So I mean, like, I feel like just like behind the back pass, we're gonna see that at some point. They've been practicing it way too much, right? Like they still do it at practice. Yeah, I think at some point we're gonna see a QB sneak during the season, man. I don't think it's like the Rose Bowl parade play where we wait till the Super Bowl. Scott, what's the date for lighting the fire behind you? Super excited for that setting. Maybe get a pipe and a silk robe.
Hugh Hefner.
The fireplace is a sore subject, Tony. I don't have time to get into it on this show, but thanks for bringing it up. Appreciate that.
It would add some really nice ambience to the show, Scott.
We'll get a fireside chat about the Chiefs sometime soon, Tony, just for you. I'll do the entire show in this voice. I'll get the bearskin rug out. we'll go the whole 9 yards, Tony. We'll get it.
Welcome
done, I
to Chiefs Kingdom Live.
right.
Be the ASMR version. Scott just whispers the whole time.
Right. Yeah. Chiefs Chargers. Anything else?
Yeah, I think that we should. I mean, maybe eat a little crow here if you want to look at it that way for our man CEH, can't elude hand tackles. We've been very tough on this individual on the show, and he had a really good game. I think now with that game, he's averaging 7.7 yards a carry for the season. 2 games, small sample size, but doing great so far. And then this play right here where, he was holding the ball like a bag of diamonds running down the field because he knew he couldn't fumble like he did in the Ravens game. So I got to give some props to CEH for how he handled the adversity and coming through in that game. So
that run reminded me of Dan Sorensen's celebration when he's doing the little ball wave, just like why can't we get a guy with like a cool move going down the field, right? Like nobody's gonna copy this. Like
Then the only other comment I have here is these helmets that they have are so weird looking. And it just the thing it reminded me of is like the space balls, the white helmets that all the dudes are wearing. Like it is just such an odd look. I don't know. I guess it's like the Riddell's new deal or whatever, but I don't know. What else? What if you guys got anything you want to say about CEH? But I mean, I feel like we need to give that guy some props for that game.
Yeah, man. Foot and mouth for that guy. Like he's had 2 pretty decent games, man. And like all my questions about him being the RB1 are kind of taking a back shelf right now because I mean I don't see another running back doing better than him. I know John V mentioned you want to see Pacheco get unleashed, but I mean they tried to run him in this game and didn't do too well. So I'm actually kind of stoked with the output CEH has been having, man. Like 2 tugs last game. I mean he had 9 carries for 90 yards or something like that this game. I'll take it.
Yeah. He got run down from behind by like 2 or 3 defenders on that play.
Because both of his hands were like this. You can't run when you hug yourself, man.
You don't get the ball in both.
That's like Kareem Hunt would have scored 2 touchdowns on the play.
Put some handcuffs on, go run down the street and see who you can outrun, man. Like
I get it, but once you get past the line, get that sucker tucked in high and tight, 4 point. In the
use the momentum of your arms and your legs, man.
Take it out. That ended up in a field goal that drive.
You didn't enjoy
to score the touchdown and make it a onside kick. A little bit nervous there at the end.
You didn't enjoy the tense, waiting to see if Amendola as a kicker we just signed that week was going to make essentially the game sealing field goal, Scott.
I just it's a good play, and it came at a crucial point in the game. I just feel like that should be a touchdown. Maybe I'm being too hard on the guy. I don't know.
I think that goes back to what I was criticizing the play calling, right? Because we got down there, and then it turned into typical Andy Reid, right? Like, let's chew up as much clock as we can and blow our opportunity down here in the red zone. But I'm kind of with Nick on this, though. Like, it was the right call, though.
Yeah. Better than fumbling.
Yeah, you didn't fumble. That's all I give a shit about. And he got us into field goal position, right? I mean, we were up 2 scores at that point. It was going to take a very low percentage play and an onside kick, to really do anything for the Chargers there. So I was okay with it, but you're right. There was a lot of backs in the league where that's a home run touchdown, 100%. So.
Right. Put John V's comment up there about the leather rags they wore.
Yeah.
Says, Nick, let's get them back in the leather rags they wore in 1776. Wasn't that one of the NFL championships that Nick was pointing out on his banner?
Like the Browns won in like the 40s, man.
On locker room last night, the guy was talking about championships from before the silent film era. I don't. That's
all he's got, bro.
That's true. If you're a Browns fan, that's all you got. Did you see that loss to the Jets? They said that was the last 1,220 teams to have a 2-touchdown lead in the last 2 minutes of a game at one, and the last team to blow it was the Browns in like 1990 something. It's got to be brutal. being a Browns fan, just absolutely brutal. But
Yeah, well now
they keep
have you
coming
seen
back
the elf
from
on
it,
the
though.
field?
What's that?
Have you seen the elf on the field?
Yeah, I saw
The
that.
Browns? Dude, like they got like some stupid elf that they put.
I
Carol,
mean,
you're
when
not
you're
blocked.
their new
You're not blocked.
mascot. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
what?
No, Carol, we don't have you blocked. We got a lot of comments coming through here. If we miss you, or if it takes us a second to get you up on the screen, we apologize. But
I'm having a little Jameson tonight, not on the comment button.
I was trying to get the comment in here. Carol did say, see, her prediction was 3-point game. So kudos there.
she did.
Oh, spot on.
3-point game. So she did. We watched part of the game together, actually. So
the other Nick, just so you know,
there's too many Nicks. Why is there a Nick on every show that I
he's
watch?
saying "fuck me too," but just in a nice sort of way.
Right. So. So with the win over the Chargers, Chiefs moved to 2-0, puts them in sole possession of first place in the AFC West. Seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. Although last year the Chiefs took a few weeks off from first place there to start the season when they had the 2-3 kind of slow start. Chargers 1-1, Denver Broncos 1-1.
Almost 0-2.
That is, they should be 0-2. I'm sorry, they should have lost that game to the Texans, just on basic principle. And then the Raiders. Welcome to the Raiders, Devontae. 0-2. Just a absolute yakety sax worthy comedy reel at the end of that game last week against the Arizona Cardinals to blow that game at home when your fans are popping bottles before the game's over. I mean, they had the champagne flowing. They were partying. They were living it up. Not so fast, Raiders Nation. Not so fast. But Chiefs in first place in the division. I ran this week's Chiefs Kingdom Live poll.
Got it somewhere. There it is.
It's coming. I was trying to get to 100 votes. I would really love to get some more votes on these polls. We got to 36, so not even close, but that's okay. The Chiefs are in sole possession of first place in the AFC West after 2 games. Will they end up out of first place or tie at any point the rest of the way? And it looks like the results are about 67-33. I was expecting Chiefs Kingdom to be a little more bullish, honestly, than 67. That's still pretty strong.
70-30?
2/3, man.
That's still pretty strong. So what do you guys think? Nick? Chiefs, do they find themselves tied? Now I know they can't really be tied because there's tiebreakers, and even if they have the same record as another team, there'll be tiebreakers or something that you could say, oh, this team's actually ahead because let's say the Chiefs and Chargers both get to like 5-1 or something. The Chiefs have a win over them, so they would technically hold the tiebreaker without the second game being played yet. But I just meant to have the same record as anybody else in the division. Nick, what do you think?
John, you can vote on Twitter, buddy.
Yep. Chiefs Kingdom Live at Chiefs. It's KNGDM Live. I'm sure John follows us on there, but anybody else that isn't following us, get in there and get on the poll. We're having some fun doing that this year. Nick?
Yeah, look, I voted that the Chiefs. Let's see, will they find themselves out? I voted no. I voted they'll be in first place the whole season. The Broncos look abysmal. The Raiders, they've lost to the 2 teams and are 0-2 that the Chiefs have beat at 2-0. Yep. They are not looking like they have the answer. The Chargers, we just went head to head. I feel like they tried to deliver a knockout blow to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs walked out of that victorious. Plus, Herbert now is going to be playing hurt for a few weeks. So I just, I just don't see it. So the Chiefs do have a pretty tough schedule, but for the most part, the teams play the same schedule outside of where they play each other. There's only a couple 3 games that are different. So, and I see John B and Tony talking about us being fancy. Yeah, it's just PowerPoint, and to be honest, it's not a great one. So I'm glad that you guys think it's fancy. So I put this together in about 20 or 30 minutes a day before, sometimes the hour before the show. So.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be buying any shows anytime soon. I mean, this isn't a low budget broadcast. This is a no budget broadcast.
Right.
But appreciate the compliment anyway.
What is it? What kind of budget is it when you pay for everything? You don't have any money coming to spend. You have to go out of pocket. No, I mean, I actually voted yes on this. I know it's kind of a surprise, but like, we've got a way harder schedule than anybody else in the AFC West, and just how it comes, win-loss and momentum and stuff. I could see us maybe going down a game later down the road, man, when it just kind of one of those unexpected games that most teams kind of encounter late in the season, and I could see it being against a division rival, and even for that one spot. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could actually kind of see that happen. That's my PTSD, being a Chiefs fan for life, right? Just we kind of found a way to do that. But I mean, the way things are going, though, it looks like no, like that shouldn't happen, though. But I guess I'm a pessimist when it comes to that.
I can see them tied, I guess, but I don't see them out of first place. I don't see it. You look at this supposed gauntlet, this murderer's row schedule the Chiefs have. It's softening up a bunch.
Yeah,
the Colts we kept hearing how tough that was going to be, and that's looking like the Chiefs should just go in there and not look past them, but they're going to win that game. The Bills is a tough game, but they got the Bills at home, and they've beaten the Bills 3 out of 4 contests the last 2 years. I think the Chargers being a division game and being almost – I put the Chargers right there, up there with the Bills and the Chiefs as one of the 2, 3, 4 best teams in the AFC. I think that game's maybe even a little bit harder just because of the familiarity with the opponent inside the division. Tampa Bay, Tom Brady – is looking now. Of course, that dude. Every time we think he's looking like it's somehow, some way he finds another way to mortgage his soul, and
he gets that shipment of virgin blood.
Right, something I don't know what it is, but that Tampa Bay game's not looking that strong. I was looking at the schedule. They got the bye week after week 7. I could easily see this team being 7-0. The Chargers, they've got a couple of fairly tough games, and the Raiders are already behind us 2 games. They're not going to make up 2 games on us.
I'm surprised you didn't trigger Tony with that comment saying 7-0. I mean, we do got to go over the Bills here in a couple of weeks before that.
But like I said, we beat them 3 out of 4. We played them 4 times last 2 years and beat them 3 of the 4. I don't think and I don't see Patrick Mahomes and company. I think they remember that regular season loss at home to the Bills. I remember after that game, Patrick Mahomes saying, "Yeah, well, we're not used to losing these kinds of games at home since I've been here." I think they got that one marked down ahead of time on the schedule. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game, and they could certainly lose the game. There'd be no shame in them losing. But the Broncos are already a game behind. I think the 49ers are going to take down the Broncos this week.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them having 2 losses. If the Chiefs get to 3-0, I don't see the Broncos or the Raiders making up 2 games at any point in the season. So maybe the Chargers. I just think the odds are that the Chiefs are in good position. That was a huge win.
That line's going to have to protect their
games. It just doesn't get bigger than that, I don't think.
Sorry, what'd you say, Nick? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sorry, if anybody thinks I'm not fighting invisible ghosts, I have this stupid freaking fly that just keeps buzzing right in my face. But I just said the line's going to have to protect Herbert. He's got cracked ribs now. So, I mean, that's a lingering thing that will, obviously people say, well, look, it didn't impact him on those couple of throws that he made. But I'll be honest, I was really surprised they didn't take him out of that game. So I think that's going to impact him, and he's just going to get hit more and more and more. It's a war of attrition in the NFL. So I think that's going to significantly increase the Chiefs' chances of holding on to the lead. So.
Um,
Oh.
so the division doesn't look as tough as it was supposed to be. Some of these games that everybody talked about how hard they were going to be are
Let's
not
talk
looking.
about some of these other games because I mean, are we just counting out the Colts real quick? Like, are we just kind of saying Colts aren't anything? We got this game going on to the next games.
They
Is
they
that what
got
you're
Matt.
thinking?
They've got Matt Ryan at quarterback, and they tied Houston week 1 and just got waxed 24-zip by the Jags. Their defense does not look as tough or as good as everybody expected it to be. Offense stopped Jonathan Taylor, and I don't know what else they have.
The Jags did it, right? Like, it doesn't seem like an
Right.
impossible task.
So yeah, I mean,
Right.
I
It's
mean,
an easier game than we just played, and we have 10 days of rest, and Andy Reid does great with additional time.
Right.
Yeah, the play calling when Andy Reid has time seems to drastically improve. That short week, man. Like, I still want to rag on his scheme this week. It was so terrible, man. Like, just you would think for a coach that's had so many games, so many experience, would know to like plan for the first 2 games, especially when you know your second game's a short week. Like, I was just fed up with this play calling. The short dink and dunk passes that went nowhere and everything. Yeah, sorry to just keep harping on it, but I thought it was terrible. Looking forward to a new, fresh, healthy team going out there and like getting ready to just trounce all over these Colts.
Yeah, so. I mean, and we can look past that game. I know the Chiefs aren't going to look past Indianapolis, but yeah, I think the schedule is shaping up not to be as tough as everybody thought it was going to be, and the division doesn't look as tough as everyone thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Russ looks cooked. Yeah, he has not looked good. I mean, he was like 3 for 11 at one point in this last game. I want to say 3 for 10 against Houston. That's not. They struggled at home to beat the Houston Texans. What are they going to do against the Chiefs? They got time to get right, though. It's a long season. So, excited. That's a huge win. Like we just talked about, just in week 2. I want to bring up, before we start breaking down the Colts game in too much detail, there was a lot of talk in the offseason about the Chiefs' wide receiving core. And there was a lot of people that were saying, well, I think the Chiefs got better at wide receiver overall as a group when they got rid of Tyreek Hill and they brought in Juju and MVS. Right now, Tyreek Hill has more receiving yards himself than all of the Chiefs' wide receivers put together. And I think you talk about play calling, Bo. I think the Chiefs missed the cheetah in that game. Some of those passes that guys caught that were dink and dunk, Patrick was under duress, and that's a stout pass rush that the Chargers have. None of those guys are catching it and taking it 60 yards, catching it 10 yards, 15 yards downfield and housing it for 60 yards. And a little bit of that is misleading to the stat about Tyreek and the Chiefs receiving group, because that doesn't factor in, obviously, Travis Kelce's receiving yards because he's a tight end, not a wide receiver. But it didn't seem to hurt the Chiefs against the Cardinals, but that defense in that competition is a lot lower than what we saw against LA. What do you think that means when Tyreek Hill is out receiving all the Chiefs receivers, be it a small sample size, be it not including Travis Kelce, the number 1 pass option in the Chiefs offense? Nick, reason for concern? No?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that's just one of those weird stats. And if you go back in the timeline there, I know that you have to account for the complete games, but Tyreek Hill was very quiet for about 3 1/3 quarters and had a pass bounce off of his hands that was intercepted again. So I think that they credit to them in coming back and winning that game. 6 touchdowns and almost 500 yards is never something that you really want to discount. So, you make the plays, you get the credit. So credit to the Dolphins. I was rooting for Tyreek to get the game winner. I don't wish any ill on him. I think that this is one of those things that, it's not going to pan out for more than the next few games. However, it does highlight the fact that we lost one of the game breakers in the league, and now it's going to be a different road for us to hoe, right? But if we can continue to get what we've got out of CEH in the running game, that makes up for it. So I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm not that concerned. So.
Yeah, man. I didn't watch both the games. I watched all the highlights of it. And the Dolphins, their first game, saved by their defense, right? Like Tyreek Hill didn't have like that great of a game, but he did okay. This last game, the Ravens just fell apart, man. I can't even tell you. They had him stuffed. They did great for 3/4 of that football game. And then the fourth quarter, I don't know if they just gave up or forgot or just what. They forgot Tyreek Hill was on the field. But to leave him that open and not like be double teaming him still in that game was just a huge error on the coach's part, not playing him double team and defending him correctly. Like Nick said, I don't think that's going to be a regular thing out of Miami. They don't look like the greatest football team ever, even though they had a great fourth quarter. I don't see that being a thing. I could be wrong, but I just don't see Miami being that great. It's only 2 games into the season. And everybody's saying like, oh, wow, they're contenders now, man. I mean, like it's still it's too early of a sample size to be like, this is going to be the way for them.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And Justin Watson had a 40-yard touchdown, but I just haven't seen like the big plays the first 2 games. Just haven't seen it. And you talk about Tyreek tipping an interception. Well, Juju's had 2 fumbles, so that's I don't want to beat him up too much for having a tip pass. I mean, we've had drops that it's turned into turnovers. Juju had 2 fumbles week 1. It was kind of a no-show in this last game. MVS had a drop this last game, which has been a knock on him when he was with Green Bay. So it's just interesting. Like I said, I saw that stat, and it's instantly in my mind went to all the people saying, "Oh, the receivers got better without Tyreek Hill." I'm not sold on that myself yet, personally. But
do you think our offense has gotten worse? I personally think it's better, man. I think it's completely different. I mean, Mahomes threw it to 9 different receivers this week or on Thursday. Like, I mean, it's just a completely different thing, a different animal that we're used to seeing versus like 1 or 2 solid options in Tyreek and Travis Kelce. I mean, what do you think? Do you think our offense is suffering? I mean, I know you kind of mentioned that like we missed him that game, but yeah, I mean, every team would love to have him in that situation when you're head to head in that close of a game.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the big plays from wide receivers the first 2 games, and while that's cool that he's spreading it around and getting it to 9 different receivers, you don't need to do that if someone has a 50, 60-yard touchdown catch, which
Jalen Watson, or I'm sorry, Justin Watson did have one of those.
Right. Yeah, 40 yards that's borderline big play. I'm talking 50, 60, 70 yards. Like,
what?
The run from CH wasn't that great. That long touchdown pass wasn't very long.
I mean, you think that's a bomb to Watson, 40 yards? I don't consider that a bomb, like huge play.
If they did that
sideways with your body
times,
facing
wouldn't
the
be
other
upset.
way, yeah, I consider it a bomb.
I don't. So
yeah, I think that Mahomes, this is a growing year, right? He's going to have to learn to do some new shit that he didn't do before, because before he had that safety outlet. I think that Scott, I was talking to Scott about
brought in have not looked all that great to me. Juju and MVS have not looked. They've looked mediocre at best.
Yeah, but it's been 2 games.
Okay. What are they waiting for? Like you.
They're 2-0.
I get that they're 2-0.
Mahomes has 7 touchdown passes, tied for most in the league.
0 interceptions.
Right. And 5 came in one game against a high school junior varsity defense in Arizona Cardinals.
Still a professional football team.
Yeah, I guess that's the Raiders, right? They squeaked one out against the Raiders, but they were down by 20 in that game as well. But yeah, I don't know. We can move on. Like I said, it was just interesting, all the talk about getting better, and now the guys got more yards than all our receivers combined through the first 2 games. So we'll see.
I don't think our offense is necessarily better, but I don't think it's
I didn't say that the offense is
drastically
better.
worse.
I'm saying the wide
No,
receiving.
I was asking that.
Hmm?
I was telling Scott, I asked that. You didn't say that. I asked that at the beginning.
No, I know, but Nick keeps saying, well, the offense as a whole, and he's thrown for 7. I'm just talking about wide receivers. Like this idea that the Chiefs got better at wide receiver without Tyreek Hill and bringing in Juju and MVS. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah,
And I think it's shown itself out to be.
I think that's
They
people
can find
trying
other ways to move the ball, and they got Travis Kelce. So, yeah, interesting tidbit that I saw come across on the internet this week. So, this Colts game, kind of break that down into some more detail here. Tony put an interesting comment in there about maybe being a trap game.
Possibly. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. They've looked bad. The Colts have looked bad. Like, I don't. And it's only been 2 weeks.
Hands are off keeper.
I mean, you tie the Texans and you get goose eggs and embarrassed by the Jags. I don't know.
Not looking good for them.
Not looking good. And their hallmark was supposed to be the defense, and it hasn't looked all that great. Trevor Lawrence was kind of throwing all over him this last weekend. Well, what is Patrick Mahomes going to do to him? Like, I don't. Obviously, any given Sunday, any team can. But to me, like a trap game, too, is like you're looking ahead to the next game after that. So, and you're overlooking them. I don't know that the Chiefs are going to be overlooking them. They don't have like some huge divisional like game the following week. They play the Raiders. Ugh. I don't think they're overlooking the Colts to.
Who do we play after the Colts?
Raiders.
Oh, okay.
I can hear the concern in your voice, Bo.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Indie games, more reason for concern than maybe I've got or Chiefs Kingdom's got? I think everybody feels pretty comfortable about this game.
The only concern I have is that everybody is too comfortable with this game. I haven't seen anybody take the Colts, like even on TV, as a hot take. Vegas has ridiculous odds. It kind of seems like it's stacked up to be a trap game almost, right? But to your point, they haven't been looking good, and we've been looking pretty decent. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of think we're just going to go in there and roll over them. But I mean, dude, they do have Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Matt Ryan, for it is what it is. That guy has been a great quarterback at times. I mean, he was infamously up 28-3 at one point on a Super Bowl against Tom Brady, right? Like, can't really discredit him that. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those any given Sunday kind of things, right?
Matt Ryan's washed, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been out of his own head since that game, but
yeah,
dude he had an arm.
Yeah, it's a team that people were talking about as a contender in the AFC. They're 0-1-1 and have played 2 teams that nobody is really like, oh, well, they started off against the Chargers and the Bills. You know, like,
right.
Like they played.
Yeah, everybody thought the Texans were like a 2 to 4 win team, right? With Lovie Smith and I mean, just no quarterback.
And they were they weren't even in the game against the Jags. 24-0.
Yeah. Big Doug R just hit the nail right on the head there. We always seem to lose a game we should win. I think that's Chiefs Kingdom like PTSD just ringing throughout the entire family. We've been there. We know it. We should win this game.
Alex Smith Jets game.
What was the game last year that we were supposed to win that we lost? Maybe the Bengals game?
AFC Championship Bengals game, yeah. We were up. Blew that one.
I was talking about the regular season. You get in the playoffs. Chiefs were favored in that game, and I don't know what happened, but I'm just talking about regular season games that you're supposed to win that you lose. And they did everything.
Any of the first 3, against the Ravens, the Browns, those like all the atrocious ref calling, the turnover, what was the word we were using last year? Fluke turnovers because of just so many tip passes and just random shit going on.
Right, but the Ravens were healthy early in the year when we played them. And they were at home. That was on the road. If the Chiefs were a favorite in that game, it was by a point or so. To say that that's a game we lost, so we should have won. I'm not gonna label that game in that category. But
right.
So
I feel like Mike Pence with this fly.
Just ignore it, man.
Just ignore it. When it lands on your
Be one
face,
with the fly,
just don't do anything. Be one with the fly. Yeah, it looks like Laney already going to the game, right? Don't want to cry at Arrowhead. I would feel pretty comfortable about that not being the case. So last year it was a lot of fun to be at the Raiders game. I can tell you because Scott and I were there. So
Chiefs beat the Raiders by a combined 66 points over 2 games last year. The Raiders lost to the Chargers and then blew a game to the Arizona High School JV Cardinals at home this last week.
Ryan was sacked 5 times and had 3 interceptions last week. I didn't realize that.
That's what I'm saying. Terrible. I don't.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to got a good offensive line too. Yeah, maybe if they can shorten the game and just run all over us, and Jonathan Taylor has 260 yards or something, maybe. But
I mean, dude, our run defense is notoriously Swiss cheese when it needs to matter, right? Like,
well, I do have some stats that we could throw up and take a look real quick.
Let's.
We got keys to the kingdom here, so just remember that Colts are baby horses. So TD pass touchdown to interception ratio, the Chiefs are 7-0 and the Colts are 1-4. So back up what Scott was saying about Matt Ryan being washed. Rushing yards per carry, our offense 4.9 versus defense giving up 3.9 per carry, which actually not too shabby, right? Not terrible. We've seen a lot worse in the past, and the Colts are averaging 4.5 per carry on offense, and their defense though is only giving up 2.7. So you give that a push because it was a 1-1. Point differential though, the Chiefs are through their 2 games are plus 26 in point differential, and the Colts are negative 22. So they're losing by double digits, on average every week. Now I know that one game they got shut out 24-0, but that's still huge. Turnovers,
that still
Chiefs,
counts, right?
Yeah, it still counts. Yeah, for sure. Turnover ratio, Chiefs are even on turnovers. Colts are a -4. Passing yards per game, Chiefs are at 293, giving up 252, and the Colts are at 252 and giving up 228. So what jumped out at me is their defense looks like they're performing maybe a little bit better than we thought. But also, look, I know that it's was it Trevor Lawrence's second year with the Jags, but he hasn't really popped and been super great. And then they were playing the Texans, so we just got to take into account the quality of the opponents here. And then we got joke stat here, right? So QB 28-3, Chiefs no, Colts yes. And then just a little asterisk here. So just for our friends that are new to the show, mentions of the Chiefs postseason blown leads against the Bengals, Colts, or Titans may result in a permanent ban from the channel. So just be respectful in the comments there.
Dude, that yards per carry defensive stat is that's what I was kind of alluding to, right? They have a 3.
Right.
Colts have a 2.7. We have a 3.9.
Mm-hmm.
If we I think the threshold's 3.3 or 3.4 is when you can just run it every single play and get a first down and not have to worry about it, right? So I mean that's the biggest thing sticking out to me is that we just let teams run and get first downs on us. So I mean if we can, somehow stop Jonathan Taylor and their run game, it should be a blowout.
It's really all they got, right?
Yeah. At this point, that's what it looks like.
And the key to that is just go out and jump on them early and get up 17-0 like we did against the Cardinals. Don't allow them to run the ball. Don't let them dictate. You got to take the fight to them. get them down early, get them out of what they want to do, and make Matt Ryan come out and come back and get in a shootout, which we all know. I mean, Matt Ryan is not he's not outgunning Patrick Mahomes in a shootout. So yeah, Chiefs are just gonna have to score. The offense, they're capable of doing it though. They had a little bit of struggles against the Chargers, but they moved the ball. The Chargers defense is, I mean, a lot of Chargers defense better than the Colts defense.
Yeah, I would say so.
As far as I'm concerned. So,
you know what you're saying. Like, it would be great to go up early, but I think I sent you guys the stat. Mahomes has a higher win percentage when trailing by 10 points or more than Justin Herbert has in games played.
Yeah, crazy.
So I mean,
yeah.
Chiefs can win in multiple ways. I mean, like, ideally the way is to go up 17-0 and just have it easy streak the whole way, right?
Right. That speaks to
He's
how
never
bad
out of it.
defense has been his first few years. So,
Yeah.
Nick, you're getting ready to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about
Dead air.
Want to make some predictions on this Colts game? Bo?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs, let's say 32-17. I think it's going to be a fairly easy game for us. I hope for another weekend of stress-free football like we had in week 1. I think that, like you said, if we can get out there, get points early, take them out of what they want to do, which is run the ball, I don't think that they can do much else. You know, it'll be interesting to see how the loss of Willie Gay for the next 4 games impacts the defense, especially against a team that wants to run. So something to watch out for there, right? He broke a vacuum cleaner. So in the NFL, rule book that says you lose 4, you get, suspended for 4 games or whatever. We can talk about how fair that is or not fair that is, but I just that's the way I see this rolling out. Is that I think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm expecting it to be an easier game, and that's hopefully I'm right, because stress-free football is a lot of fun. So
yeah. There's no reason in my mind that our defense isn't better than Jacksonville's defense, and that we should be able to get to Matt Ryan just as many times as they did. I mean, Nick brought it up, though. We are going to be missing a key player in the middle of our defense. So even then, I still think we have a leaps and bounds better defense than Jacksonville does. I could see Chris Jones getting to him. I want to see Karlaftis get to the quarterback. And he almost got to Herbert in that game. He had a batted pass right there at the goal line. And then Jones almost had a safety. I mean, I think those two are going to be awesome as the season progresses. And I'd like to see Karlaftis really open up on the Colts this week. My prediction, I'm going to go a little bit bold. 50 burger. Oh, 50. Let's go. Got 40 points last week. Let's get a 50 burger. I'm seeing it. 50, let's say 14. We'll give them some overtime in the quarter.
I'll take it.
Oh. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Pedal to the metal, Laney. Pedal to the metal. Not taking that foot off that gas.
Yeah, something too. I think Patrick's watching some of these other quarterbacks get this attention and talk about, it's Tua in the MVP race, and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are the clear favorites in the MVP race. He hears that stuff, and he sees that stuff. So.
Dude, could you imagine being like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, just being completely ignored in the media, and you're hearing people go like, "Is Tua the next big thing?" And you're just like,
right.
Are you kidding me?
Rodgers had a bad first game. I could see him being left out of the conversation right now. But Patrick Mahomes, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, best passer rating in the league right now. He's. I think maybe this would be a little bit of a statement game for him. Pick on that defense a little bit.
Right.
I'm not going to be quite as bold as Bo. I'm going to go. It's so tough to tell, though, because the Chiefs have been giving up these garbage points because they get up early and they start playing soft. So, like, that Cardinals game was 44-23 or whatever it was, but that game was 44-15 at one point. Like,
7 points in the fourth quarter is what they've given up, right?
Right.
We
But
leave
I
Mahomes
think
in, we get that 50 burger in that game. I'm just saying. I'm not for it. I'm not for leaving
that'd
him
be great.
in. I'm just saying, had he played that whole game, would have got some burgers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs 35, Colts 17. How about that? 35-17, almost double on the Colts. Indianapolis. A lot of Chiefs fans I've seen on social media traveling to the game too. Indianapolis is not that far of a road trip, so maybe be another one of these away home games for the Chiefs. Hopefully, yeah, exactly. That's what I was just referencing. The he has one good game where he throws 6 touchdown passes against a garbage Ravens secondary that was just letting guys run wide open. But give credit to the Dolphins. I mean, they got Waddle and Hill. That's a dynamic duo in the receiving core. Those guys are fast. They got speed, man.
All right,
They're
my
kind
hot
of taking
take
a
would
page
be
out of the Chiefs' old book, right? What was it? I don't even want to say it because it was a cheap knockoff of the Seahawks Legion of Boom that we did with the offense. But they're maybe getting in there a little bit. They're maybe taking some pages out of the Chiefs' old playbook from a couple years ago. Speed, speed, speed. I mean, Waddle and Hill that's tough to cover, man.
So we were talking about Tyreek a little bit earlier, man. My hot take would be that Waddle is the better receiver on that team right now.
I don't know about that. No.
Dude, I mean, obviously Tyreek's faster, right? And when you give him a 50-yard wide open threat down the field, like you're going to get some padded stats like that. You can't tell me that wasn't blown coverage. There was nobody within 15 yards of him, and that's not because of his speed, dude. That is blown defense. I would argue that Waddle's going to be the more productive, the more go-to, more consistent. He hasn't dropped or tipped any passes yet. Yeah, that's my hot take.
We got a John here says we have dominated. They need something to talk about on ESPN, hoping for a hero, but Mahomes will be the best for years now.
Yeah, agree with that. Yeah, agree with that. Thanks for sending the comment and watching the show, John. Appreciate it. Good to have you, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if this is your first time watching or just commenting, but thanks for being part of it. Shooting it in, got questions, send it along.
Wait, is this John C? When we had the John V and the John E?
I think so.
The John C from the John episode?
Show with all the Johns.
Right, yeah. We're something about having Johns on the show, but
it just sparked all the other Johns in the chat now.
We are Legion.
Right.
Another thing that I was thinking about, and I know that we got a notification on the Twitter. I believe that this show marks the 1-year anniversary of Chiefs Kingdom Live, because I believe we started this after the second week of the season last year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We did miss the Browns game and had to recap it.
And then we thought we were, jinxing the Chiefs because things kind of went to shit for a few weeks there. So,
right.
Well, John C, appreciate you watching. But as John V is pointing out, we got John A through G, and then we got a whole gap, and then John B. So we're filling it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Race Car in here. Congratulating us. Thanks, Race Car. Good to see you. As always. I got the little birthday thing on the Twitter account the other day when I went in to log in to check some tweets and send some stuff out. The little balloon things came up. So it's been about a year. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, enjoy doing it. Meeting cool people, getting, to cut it up and talk Chiefs and see our man Bo, who lives out of town, world traveler, all around the country. So
international.
He takes Chiefs Kingdom
not international, man. Just national traveler, just country traveler.
I might be doing a show from India here in a few weeks, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, what time? What is
4 in the morning?
Yeah, bro. So they're like, I think they're 10 and a half hours ahead of us.
Wow, so yeah, that
would be 5 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least you wouldn't be working. So, yeah, when you're
start your day off right, dude. The podcast. You just be amped for the rest of the day. People like, Nick, you have so much energy today. What happened?
Why are you wearing that weird shirt? What is that? Is that a cricket team?
Yeah.
Thanks for the congrats.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. So appreciate everybody congratulating us. I didn't even know it was the 1 year anniversary show until Nick just said it just now. So,
Yeah, me neither. That's awesome.
We're not big on celebrating if you guys can't tell.
No, I mean it's cool. And if you had told me we would have as many viewers and subscribers and whatever as followers we've had now, I didn't think anybody would watch, to be honest with you. So
maybe that's why I felt the need to drink such a big bottle of Jameson tonight. I just apparently knew.
I was gonna say, were they out of the big bottles at the liquor store? I mean,
yeah, I had to go with the mini, man. Just the minis.
Right. It's like Homer when he goes to Australia and he goes, one of those big beers, and they put it on the counter with like a dolly. He's like, oh, it's fucking big. Yeah, we are. We're set up with a toilet joke now with all the Johns. Right.
That's pretty mild mannered for where we were going a couple weeks ago with all the Johns in here. Toilet joke is starting us off.
More Johns in Independence Avenue at 1 a.m. So, got a couple more games you guys want to talk about here before we get out, or do you have something lined up?
Oh, I just refurbished my hot water tank into a Jameson bottle, and I just carry it around.
Yeah. Shower it and drink it. So.
No, I mean, the only other thing that really has been kind of big news and I've seen a lot of debate is, I mean, just people talking about the Bills and then Chiefs fans saying, hey, wait a minute, we're still here. And so I don't know if you guys have seen and or engaged in any of that, but it's been one of the things that has been popping up on my Twitter thread. So Scott, have you been, I know you run our Twitter, have you been engaged in any of that? Oh, it looked like.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills are a good team and Josh Allen's a good quarterback, but to me, like, they did this last year when the Bills were smoking people early in the season and wanted to crown them.
Yep.
Then they struggled for a stretch there and lost to the Jags, who were terrible last year. I mean, and were on the outside of the playoffs looking in there for a while late in the season. Came back and had a good playoff run, obviously, and played the Chiefs tough and were 13 seconds away from moving on to the championship game. But to me, it just comes to mind the whole Chiefs versus Bills, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the Ric Flair thing. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And they haven't beat the man yet. So until they do, I think it's the Chiefs' crown. They're wearing the crown. They're on the top of the hill until someone knocks them off.
Bo, you're on mute.
I was muted. No matter how many rules are written in favor of these teams to help them beat the Chiefs, right? They still got to beat us.
Yeah, no. The overtime rule, they changed that because of the Bills. Some of this other crap. I don't know. I don't. The Bills look strong. They just waxed Tennessee and they waxed the Rams, but the Rams don't look anything special. The Rams almost lost to the Falcons last week, and
yeah,
the Titans are. I have no idea how they were the 1 seed last year.
Dude, Derrick Henry tore up at the beginning of the year and gave him enough stats that when he got injured, it carried him through to that number 1 seed, essentially. Let's get real.
Well, the Chiefs went 2-4. That's how they won. Got the 1 seed, right?
That's true.
That's it. I mean, Buffalo, yeah, I don't know. Buffalo seems like you said, Scott, and they seem like a team that's kind of peaking. It's like, you don't want to peak in week 2, so.
Yeah. The Chiefs have scored on just as many of their drives. I saw a stat that PFF put out that the Bills and Chiefs have both scored touchdowns on 38.1% of their drives.
Yeah, like tied exactly, Chiefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. The Chiefs defense has played well against – I mean, they shut down the Cardinals except for garbage time. Yeah. And then aside from that first couple drives there in the first quarter against the Chargers, who are a good offense, they locked them down for a majority of that game last Thursday. So Chiefs defense are no slouches.
They look so much better than last year at this time. Remember last year at this time what we were seeing?
Looked lost.
They're like, we're going to blow the dust off the record books of how bad they were. It was like the defense hasn't given up this many yards and this many points to start a season since the 1953 Chicago Bears or something. It was like we're going back to World War II stats.
They were pointing at Nick's banners on the locker room right here. Right there. That's what the Chiefs defense would be.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, PFF is nerds from overseas. There you go, John. Yeah, they had that thing that list out so far, like the highest graded quarterback or the quarterback rankings by grade for the first 2 weeks of the year. They had Patrick Mahomes was 11th behind Kirk Cousins and some of these. Joe Flacco was ranked. Let me tell you something. If Joe Flacco is ranking higher on your grading list, your chart, than Patrick Mahomes, you probably need a new chart. You probably need a new formula because, no. I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins and Joe Flacco are not playing better and are not better quarterbacks than Patrick Mahomes. That's not a hot take. That's not some earth-shattering analysis by me there. I'm not saying that to sound deep or sound smarter than I am about football. So, I don't know. It's whatever.
Dude, but like, if you look at those PFF grades, dude, are you honestly going to be like, Tua's a better quarterback than Mahomes, or Tua's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson? Like, what a joke, right? Like, you can't look at those grades and honestly take them seriously anymore, right? Like, they like.
Why would they even put them out? That's what I can't figure out. I don't understand. Like, they just don't want to admit that their genius formula they came up with, their algorithm, doesn't work. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah, it's almost like it exists to incite controversy or to make, like, Scott and I talked about this because I got kind of heated and I was like, well, I don't really care. And he's like, oh, you sound like you care. I was like, yeah, no, I guess I do care a little bit.
Nick takes the PFF stuff a little personal.
Shit gets me irritated.
We're fans.
Gets me irritated, man. Like,
bro, everybody references them for some reason.
Anytime you have to start making up like shit, like stats about shit that didn't happen to justify how you like rated somebody, like you've gone off the fucking grid. You know what I mean? Like when you start saying, oh, that's a turnover worthy play. And it's like, well, now you're talking about things that didn't happen. And it just drives me nuts that like,
dude, these Chargers fans that are coming out with like, well, we got adjusted game stats. Like adjusted score. Hey, that didn't happen, motherfucker. Like this is the game right here. Like what are you talking about? Adjusted game stats. Yeah, I feel you, Nick.
Yeah, adjusted score. And what's funny about that was the guy started getting lit up by people on Twitter about how stupid of a stat that was. He goes, since so many of you are showing an interest in adjusted score, let me show you how you calculate it. And it's like, no one's interested in it. They're telling you look like a jackass, buddy. Like, you should have deleted the tweet. Don't like keep going. Oh, let's put a thread about how stupid this thing is that everybody's making fun of. Like, adjusted score. It's just it's gone too far. Analytics have their place in sports, and they can be a valuable tool. But the game's not played in a computer. The game's not played on paper.
It's not played after the fact either. It's not played after the game.
Right. I mean, Patrick Mahomes throws to a covered guy, but like the Travis Kelce play where he was pretty well covered and they had two more defenders closing on him and Patrick dropped it in the bucket. And it was a turnover-worthy play because he threw it into tight coverage. Well, no, he's that good. He can throw it into tight coverage. That's what makes him better than all the other people you have at the top of your list that throw checkdowns and only throw to wide open receivers. Yeah. And I think they value the rushing too much for quarterbacks. To me, I don't. You see a lot of these guys that have higher grades. It's because they have rushing touchdowns and things like that. Which
did you guys see the LT Brothers podcast talk about the PFF grades?
Yeah, I saw that. That's a funny show. That's good stuff.
I don't think I saw that clip.
They're talking about specifically these grades, right? And how like the guys analyzing what happened on the field don't realize the play that was called on the field necessarily, right? And so like they'll look at it and be like, "Oh, it should have been this," and you're like, "Well, no, man, then we were totally doing the exact opposite, and you think it should have been that, but this is what we were all directed to do on the play, right?" That show's hilarious, by the way. Watching him talk about getting power bombed.
Oh, dude, how is that not a flag?
Right.
Because it's the Chiefs, that's why.
Because Travis Kelce admitted he was laughing while he's in the air. The ref probably heard him giggling like a little girl, like,
the same reason that, for the same exact reason that wasn't called a penalty, because those are the refs that called a penalty on us when Joey Bosa dove at Patrick Mahomes' ankles and his knees.
Yeah.
And you're just talking about NFL officiating. And I've said it once, and I'll say it again. NFL officiating has always sucked. It sucks right now, and it's always going to suck. So that's just the I'm trying to think of who it was. They called that penalty on the Chiefs for body slamming someone last year. Was that the Eagles game, I want to say?
I remember that. I don't remember the game, but I do remember
the Eagles, but I do remember that.
Tarvarius Ward powerbomb body slammed somebody like that, and they called a penalty. And so, but they're not going to call for us at home for some reason. That's the other thing, too. It seems like the Chiefs, they get jobbed terrible calls at home. Like, when was the last top-notch team, NFL team, that got like shitty calls at home? That was called home field advantage and home cooking, and that's a hometown call by the refs right there. We don't seem to get many of that, but that's okay. We don't need it.
Don't need it.
Chiefs are 2-0 despite playing pretty stout Chargers team in week 2 and going against the rest and coming back in first place in the division, fellas.
I've actually been okay with the ref calling this year, man. I mean, I'm gonna like err on the side of judgment that refs are always shit, but I haven't been too terrible with it. They've missed a couple offensive holding calls that, like, that's my biggest gripe, man, is when they decide to call that call, because it happens every single play.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, when they call it, they're erring on the right side of judgment to where it can go to replay without a team having to waste a challenge, kind of thing. And like I've been okay with it so far. Like so far, I gotta add that because I know that'll change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it was bad in that game though against the Chargers. There was a pass interference against our guy on that last drive where we kicked the field goal that was obvious along the sideline. Referee standing right there. The play where they said that Joey Bosa was blocked into Patrick Mahomes' legs, where the guy had one finger on his jersey, Joey Bosa just lost complete control of his body because an offensive lineman got one finger caught in the collar of his jersey. Yeah, that was a terrible call. There was a bunch of bad. The missed power bomb, unnecessary roughness against. They should have put that ball at the 1-inch line basically. And Chiefs kicked the field goal there. So
I guess I was so thankful they didn't call that a fumble recovery for the Chargers, because like that's what I was expecting at the end of that power bomb when the Kelsey got and the ball just scored it outright. I was literally thinking the refs are going to screw us here and call a turnover right here, and I guess that's why I'm like I wasn't too worried about the like unnecessary roughness call right there. I do agree with you about the Bosa hit though. Like that should have been a penalty. But like I said, dude, I've seen way more flagrant, way worse missed calls that like I'll give the refs a passing grade, a C+ so far.
Yeah, I mean we had a couple of picks that were overturned, so I see that. It just it's crazy when you see something as flagrant as like literally body slamming or power bombing somebody, and it's like that's allowed. Like I don't know. It's
a penalty.
It's hard to see. Like I don't know if they've actually fined that guy or if that's just all fake reporting. I haven't seen in like an official article, but I've seen people say that guy got fined. But then I also saw that was a fake. It was fake news. So I don't know.
Hard to tell for sure, but game's in the books now. Doesn't matter. We beat them on the scoreboard. So,
oh yeah.
Let's talk about some of these other games real quick and then get out of here. Yeah. What did you guys think about the other games that happened this weekend? Like Bills, Miami, San Francisco.
I loved the end of the Raiders Cardinals game.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, Nick, I gotta thank you, man, because when you watch the highlights, make sure to watch that game last. Save that one for dessert. And oh man, that was
Yeah.
God, that was great.
Yeah, you think Devontae is second guessing his choice to go to the Raiders yet? To leave Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to go to the Raiders?
I think that dude knew what he was giving up when he signed that deal. He just knew he was getting the best deal of receivers ever gotten in the history of the NFL, and that's why he took it.
That sounds a lot, dude. But I guarantee you thought, I'm going to go back there with Derek, my college guy, and they were a playoff team last year, and I'm the man, and I'm going to turn that franchise around. I guarantee you that guy was expecting to go in there and turn the Raiders into an instant contender, and it didn't. It's not happening. They're 0-2. I think I saw somewhere like barely 10% of teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs, or maybe even less than 10%. So
Yeah.
they got a lot of wood to chop already. I didn't catch many of the other games. I mean, there's a lot of snoozers this week as opposed to the first week where there's a record for how many games were decided by 3 points or one possession or less. The Bills-Titans was a snoozer. The Eagles-Vikings. I was disappointed in the Vikings after the way they looked week one to come out and just get destroyed. Although the Chocotron 5000 is my buddy Nick on the channel. He did. He choked in Monday Night Football. The dude's terrible in primetime games. So I think they've got the playmakers to turn around. But yeah, I was surprised in that game. The Bears.
I kept this game up. The Miami game, was that not just – that was probably the game of the week, right? Like that was –
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see any of it. But, I saw the highlights. And, yeah, when you're up, what was it, 35 to something? 35
Yeah, they're up 21 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 28 unanswered points, I think.
Yeah, wild game there. If you had Lamar Jackson on your fantasy team, you were feeling pretty good because he has like crazy passing, crazy rushing touchdown. He had like a 70-yard touchdown run. Yeah, that was a pretty wild game. Packers got right against the Bears, which they always do. So
I know you didn't see it, but that Miami Ravens game is going to be talked about for a while and like how good it was. I mean, you play fantasy. Who has Lamar Jackson in your league, dude? The dude had like 40-something points in my league.
Right. Well, I had Lamar Jackson on one team.
Oh, okay. So you crushed it on that in that league.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I had Tyreek Hill in my other league on my other team.
I'm non-PPR. If anybody's wondering why I only got 40 points in my league.
Right.
But dude, that game like
a lot of action, a lot of scoring, especially late. So
I can't get this out of my head. John's right. Cheetah burned.
Yeah.
And yeah. Both teams were going well. The Ravens just choked, man. The defense just choked, in my opinion, and they made Miami look way better than they actually are. I mean, they have some great receivers in Waddell and Hill, but I kind of think the hype over Miami's a little overrated.
We'll see. They got the Bills this week, right?
Dude, is that
the Dolphins?
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. So we'll see if the Tua magic is for real, because they're going up against a good team. Not that the Ravens aren't a good team, but there were some questionable defensive breakdowns at the end of that game. But you got to give it to them. They made the plays, right? I mean, so
you and I could have made those plays, Nick. They were so wide open, like both Waddle and Hill so wide open.
Would have looked the same too because I'm left-handed. So I mean, look, I was stoked to see a lefty.
It would have looked identical if you were out there. Then
that's right.
Yeah. No, John's right there. John C. I guess we'll call him. He's right about that being that's a division game. That's 2-0 in the division for first place in the AFC East on the line. That's going to be a big game.
That Cardinals Raiders game turned out to be really good just because the Raiders lost. I don't know if you watched that or watched the highlights of it, but that was fantastic.
Which one?
The Raiders Cardinals game.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Cardinals came back. Tyler Murray had the longest 2-point conversion in NFL history, just scrambling and running around, and decided to just run it in.
Yeah, and then Hunter Renfrow fumbled the ball.
Oh yeah, in overtime, right? Yeah.
But, he fumbled it, and they recovered it and 2 plays later, fumbled it again, and then the Cardinals picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown.
And then the guy almost threw the ball.
I thought the Cardinals guy threw
Oh
the
my
ball
God.
before he got into the end zone, though.
I thought he did it too.
I did too. I think everybody thought that.
Hang on to the ball until you're through the back of the end zone, man. You can throw the
Give
ball.
it to a fan. Run and hand it to a fan every time or something, right?
Or wait till you get to the, like I said, do the back of the end zone, and then chuck it. Like
Right.
whatever you're going to do, you want to keep it, hang on to it. Pretty wild, but
Hand it to the dude
Yeah.
next to the guy that smacks you in the face when you win.
yeah.
I guess Kyler Murray watched the replay and he said that he would shake that fan's hand now. So I guess that's
That was much too
controversy.
loud.
It seemed so harmless, dude. It seemed like somebody was just trying to celebrate and missed. Right? That's what it looked like to me.
There was no malice there. Like,
Wanted to high five you in the face.
Yeah, no one was taking a swing at Kyler Murray there. That was he was being a little sensitive.
Lucky I wasn't trying to swing.
Raiders fan, that was the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, missed the dude who actually hit him in the face and then just went after the Raiders fan. So funny.
Right.
But the Raiders fan probably had it coming. I mean, being a Raiders fan, so
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, odds are likely that he had it coming.
Right. They probably did not enjoy their picture being shown all over national TV like that, because there's probably some sort of violation of his probation to be there at the game, or they're had a beer in his hand or something. His probation officer, his parole officer saw him on TV, so probably did not appreciate all that free publicity. But
could you imagine though, like if you were like at a Chiefs game and you were down there and they came back and won in overtime and Mahomes walks up and you're just so excited and like you like go to like pat him on the shoulder or something. You actually
How's your man?
You hear Andy Reid in the post game. He's like, "Yeah, I hope that guy gets fired from his job." And what did you hear all that? Like Cliff Kingsbury's like, "I hope he gets fired from his job."
No,
and
I
hope
didn't hear that.
Never come to a game again.
Dude,
and you're just like, no.
No, that was silly. That was people overreacting to things,
Yeah.
and where this isn't a sociology class or show, but calm down, people. Not everything is an attack on you, and not everybody's out to get you. And that was ridiculous. That was blown up.
Always assume positive intent, people. Unless you're on Twitter,
Right.
and then there's like not a lot of positive intent. That's the one exception to that rule. But
It was an accident, clearly.
fellas, I gotta get up out of here. Kids are
Yeah.
chomping at the bit for me to get bedtime going. So
Yeah, no, I'm gonna grab something to eat here myself and wind down. But
Kids are ruining the show, Nick.
got Zach. That's cousin Zach. I was talking about.
Zach just got here. We can ask about his game experience, and now you have to go because you're kids. Way
Right.
to go.
I know.
Yeah. Breaking seats and telling the Chiefs to rip people's heads off and F you, ref. My favorite Zach Russell game time chants, but good time. Good to see you, Zach. Thanks, man, bro. Yeah,
By the way, that's not a picture from Goro in Mortal Kombat. That is actually that guy. That's what he looks like in real life. He does look like Goro from Mortal Kombat. Just, but that is their cousin. Don't let that.
He doesn't have 6 arms. He's got 2 really big ones that are probably about the size of 3 regular person arms. So maybe that kind of 6 arms.
I knew it was coming, Zach.
Yeah, I bet you did, Zach. I was thinking that when I was watching it on TV. I was laughing, picturing in my head. But way to go and be loud. And I know you're breaking seats and threatening to rip people's heads off. So glad you had a good time. Killer game. Thanks everybody that joined in, watched, sent us comments. Everybody that's liked the show, subscribe, follows us on Twitter. We'll be back next Wednesday.
On Instagram and Facebook. I'm just late. I'm not as active as Scott, but I'm getting there.
Yep. I think we're gonna maybe have a special guest on next week. I think maybe we're gonna try to get Johnny Sides in here, duck races guy. He's a cool dude. We met him out in Arizona and had a good time hanging out with him there at Pub Rock. So again, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you commenting. We appreciate you subscribing and liking the videos. Tell your friends. And Sunday, Chiefs are looking to go 3-0 against the Indianapolis Colts. Let's go Chiefs.
All right, let's go Chiefs.